Once upon a time, there lived a beautiful orphan girl named Sochima. She lost a parent at a tender age and had a wicked stepmother. Her beauty can make any man miss his way. She grew up with her evil stepmother and stepsister, which they maltreated her and made life so miserable for her. She does all the chores alone, from fetching water from the stream, fetching firewood, and doing the laundry and cooking. Ngozi, a stepsister, will sit and watch her doing all the chores alone, without giving her a helping hand. She always gets beaten up by her stepmother at every slightest mistake and opportunity. Sochima will work tirelessly for hours every day, but will sometimes get little or no food. She only eats from the remnants of her stepmother and stepsister. After she cleans the house and cleans everywhere and sweep, she will only eat from the crumbs. She will be asked to sleep outside every night because they wouldn't want her to contaminate the room with her offensive odor. Nobody had ever wanted to associate with her because of her odor, even with her much beauty. Sochima was always very lonely. She cries every day and sometimes cries to sleep. One morning, at the cold harmattan weather, she was fetching water from the stream when a fine young man who was passing by saw her. Her beauty swept him off his feet, and he lost his stamina staring graciously at her. He approaches her, but she snubbed him and walked past him with her water on her head. The man followed her to their house unknown to her. He watched her walking inside a small hut and left. The next day, she saw him again while she was fetching water from the stream. She became more scared because nobody has ever followed her that way. She tried to escape him again, but it was persistent because her beauty and smile was irresistible and was very contagious. "Please, what do you want from me?" she asked him with a low voice. "I only want to be your friend," he replied. "By the way, I am Ikechukwu, but you can call me Ike, and I'm from this village," he said with a smile plastering on his face. "No, please, you can't be my friend because I don't want any trouble, and please stay far away from me. I can't be anybody's friend because nobody likes me and nobody has ever been close to me or even associated with me," she said tearily. The man tried to talk to her again, but she ignored him and hastily left the stream. Sochima was surprised to turn her back and saw the man after her. That fateful afternoon, Sochima was coming back with firewood on her head under the scorching sun, and to her surprise, she saw the man sitting with her stepmother outside. Sochima knew she was in for a big trouble. That sent fear down her spine. The man winked at her and left with a beautiful smile of fulfillment on his face. A few minutes after the man had left, Sochima's stepmother stormed inside the house and dragged her out. She was fuming. "You witch! You stinking smelling brat! You dare had the guts to bring a man to my house? You ugly thing that smells like a decomposing corpse! The audacity, just like your useless, miserable late mother. Who is that man that can still look at you, Sochima, even with all the smells?" Sochima's stepmother's anger spread like a wildfire. She began to stutter as her tongue was tied to her mouth. She received the beatings of her life and was starved for days. They became jealous of her, which made her stepmother lock her up for days in order for her not to meet the man anymore. A few days after, I didn't see any trace of her, which made him went to check on him. Sochima was at the back watching heap of clothes when he came. Her stepmom and her stepsister lied to him that she ran away from home. She told him she was their slave, that her advice to her to take her daughter will be the best. She told him she will make a good wife for him. But Ike didn't believe them. Neither did he consent to their plans of seduction. One day, he was in deep thought and so heartbroken about Sochima because he realized he had already fallen in love with her. Sochima was on her way to the stream as she was released that day. He decided to go sit by the stream when he coincidentally bumped into her. Her beauty shined like that of the stars in the morning, and he couldn't quickly resist her, but he quickly recognized her. This time, there was no way for her to run, as he obstructed her every movement to run away from him. Please, I can be your friend, and you can't stop me. You can't stand me, because I can't, she said and began to stutter. You mean I can't stand you because of your offensive stench? I know, your stepmother told me, and I can perceive it, but your beauty and your innocency and your innocent smile can't keep me away from you. I can sense your innocence from here, he said. She opened her mouth in shock as she heard that and was more surprised he still wanted to be a friend, even knowing what her problem was. Okay, fine. My name is Sochima, but can you please let me go? She said it while trying to place a fake smile on her face, but still trying to avoid him and asked him to stay away from her. But he wouldn't listen. He told her he had gradually fallen in love with her and promised her there's nothing she would do to keep him away from her. She gradually began to get used to him. He will always wait for her under the tree, a bit far from their house. They will go to stream together, go to market and every possible places together. Sochima was very comfortable with him, as that was the first time she ever had someone close. They were always together as they became friends. Along the line, Sochima gradually fell in love with him because of his kindness. She told him she has never experienced such kindness and love before from anyone, and nobody has ever stand her and neither associated with her. Sochima and Ike hid their relationship away from the eyes of the villagers, and especially from that of her stepmother and her stepsister. He couldn't care less about a bad smell. One day, Ike was escorting Sochima unconsciously back home from the market, excitingly, when her stepmother sighted them. Her stepsister saw it too, and she quickly ran to tell her mother about it. They both came up with a plan to eliminate Sochima, so that Ngozi will have Ike all to herself. Suddenly, they became all nice to her. She began to treat her like a daughter, and the stepsister treated her like a sister. Sochima felt the love she has never experienced before. Unknown to her, it was just a plan to eliminate her. One fateful morning, her stepmother called her and told her to go into the bush to fetch some firewood for her, as she would need it to cook that evening. To cover up her plot, she asked her daughter Ngozi, Sochima's stepsister, to accompany her. She was very happy that they are getting along. She hurriedly left with her to the woods. Her stepmother already hired people to go into the bush to kill her. She wasn't aware she was followed by two men. The moment she entered the bush, her stepsister left her and ran back home. When the two men took her, the men grabbed her and brought her into the bush. They beat her mercilessly and left her half dead. A certain old woman who came to the bush to get some natural leaves for her medicine came across her. She pleaded for her help before she finally gave up. The woman took her home. She was also a healer. She took care of her, nursed and nurtured her wound using the natural medicine. She nurtured her until she began to heal gradually. Ike went to Sochima's house to check if she's around, as he hasn't seen her for days, and met a stepmother and asked about her. She lied that Sochima died a few days back in the bush by some wild animals when she was fetching firewood. Ike was so heartbroken and devastated, but Sochima's stepmother never stopped encouraging him to take the hand of her daughter Ngozi in marriage. Rather, he had no option but to give in. A day before their traditional marriage, he took Hill that morning. He was brought to the woman healer's house. To his greatest surprise, he saw Sochima. At first, he thought he was dreaming, or probably he'd seen a ghost. Sochima couldn't believe it herself. She told him everything that happened when he went to her house to check on her. Sochima also told him her own side of the story, what happened and how she got there. They both realized it was planned by Sochima's stepmother to eliminate her. A few days after, when Sochima was fully recovered, eventually he took her to a big mansion. She took her to their palace to meet its father, the king, and to her utmost shock, she realized he was a prince all this time. He told her he disguised himself to look like a commoner just to find a wife who would truly be his woman and a queen. Sochima realized after a few days that she doesn't have any bad smell anymore, as she was unable to perceive it. Ike realized the same thing. They both began to wonder what happened, because she had been like that since she was a child. When they went back to thank the woman, she opened up to them. As a spiritual healer, I saw everything that happened, she said. She said she saw where her problem was coming from. Her stepmother casted a spell on her when she was still very young. The moment her mother died, she was out to destroy them all, and so she casted a spell on her with the bad body odor. The woman healer healed her and also reversed the spell back to her stepmother. The prince was so shocked, and so was Sochima. One morning, they decided to visit her stepmother and sister. They were so much in shock to see them. They brought her home, and they thought she was a ghost. She told her everything she knew, and to her surprise, her stepmother realized she had started stinking more than a decomposing corpse. She confessed how she killed her mother out of jealousy and casted a spell on Sochima because she saw her star and how beautiful she was, and also planned to eliminate her in the bush so that the prince could marry her daughter. A few hours after she confesses, she died on the spot. The daughter pleaded Sochima for her forgiveness. She forgave her and she took her in as a servant, as she had pity on her. She confesses that it was her mother that turned her against her sister. Sochima and the prince finally got married, and they lived happily. After their traditional marriage, Sochima was later made the queen of their town. Sochima couldn't ask for more. Their life became more peaceful and memorable. They lived happily ever after. What do you learn from this story? Please comment, share, and like. And don't forget to subscribe and always press on the notification bell. Thank you as we await a new story.